I hope that heaven is just as pleasant as you envisioned it in your manga. That was One Piece creator Eiichiro Oda's closing statement about the life and death of Akira Toriyama, who sadly passed away at age 68. The entire world mourned the loss of Toriyama and will continue to grieve for a very long time, but Oda's warm-hearted send-off helped remind us to cherish his legacy and never forget the incredible stories, empathetic characters, and magical places that Toriyama left behind. One of those things that he shared with the world was his interpretation of the afterlife, a beautiful place where souls go after they die, and the greatest of heroes get the chance to keep their bodies and train for all eternity. Toriyama himself is likely up there right now, running on Snake Way, with his physical body, while on his way to hang out with King Kai. He'll never truly be gone as long as we imagine him getting to experience all these things that he drew up on paper. Toriyama's vision of heaven is one of the many wondrous things that he got to explore when creating Dragon Ball, and just like what Oda described, it's a pleasant and joyous place. In the real world, the afterlife is something of mystery, something that not many people know the full extent of, but have beliefs on what it might look like. In the world of Dragon Ball, Toriyama's vision of what comes after death is fully explored, and it's portrayed as something beautiful. Referred to as the Otherworld, the afterlife is a place that exists between dimensions. It's the final destination for everybody, regardless of race, social standing, and morality. The afterlife is broken up into several different realms. Hell is a realm in of itself, between the Enma realm, which represents the gateway between heaven and hell, and then the Kaio realm, which hosts the different Kaioshin planets, and heaven itself. It's implied that every planet and universe has their different versions of the afterlife, but the overall concept of the Otherworld, where there's a purple sky and yellow fluffy clouds below, it's something that is consistent across everything in the Dragon World. Everybody has a soul, and all of their souls get sent to the check-in station where they get judged for their actions. If they lived life as a good person, they get sent to heaven, a calm and serene planet above the station full of flowers where they spend the rest of eternity relaxing and floating around. But if they were bad, they get sent to hell, a place under the clouds full of spikes and blood ponds. It's a pretty straightforward concept, but Toriyama plays with the idea through the character of King Yama. Yama's entire purpose in the story is to sit at his office desk and judge each and every soul that passes through the station. The long line of souls never shortens. In fact, it only gets busier each time something bad happens in the story, like when Frieza exterminates an entire planet, or when Majin Buu rampages throughout the cosmos. It's no surprise that doing nothing but judging white blobs for all eternity can get pretty boring, but every so often, King Yama gets to spice things up by giving certain souls that privilege of keeping their bodies with a glowing yellow halo above their head. Goku and his friends are some of the primary examples of souls getting that privilege, and through them, we've been able to explore more of what the Otherworld has to offer. Aside from heaven and hell, warriors get the chance to run down Snake Way, a long, narrow, and winding road that travels along the top of the clouds. It's a gigantic serpent that connects the check-in station all the way to King Kai's planet, one of my personal favorite locations in the entire franchise. The only thing separating a warrior from being personally trained by King Kai, the guy who taught Goku the Kaioken and the Spirit Bomb / Genki-Dama, is the length of the road. There's nothing dangerous that gets in the way, aside from Princess Snake, but that's filler. The only thing holding you back is your own endurance, stamina, and mindset. Goku's first time traveling on Snake Way, it took him 6 months to reach the end. A lot of people just don't have that determination to make the full trip, and not to mention, a lot of people probably don't want to risk the trip anyway. Even though there's nothing dangerous on top of the road, it's fully possible for someone to trip and fall off the road. If they fall through the clouds, that's a one-way ticket to hell, and they're not going to be able to come back. But if you're able to make it all the way to the end, you get to hang out with King Kai and Bubbles. That's worth it in my eyes. Now, even though we only see the one version of Snake Way, it would be logical that there are other roads on different sides of the check-in station that connect to the other Kai planets, as the King Kai that we know and love, he's the ruler of the North Quadrant of Universe 7. There's 3 other Kais that we get to see and learn more about in filler material, such as the Otherworld Tournament. Speaking of which, that whole entire filler arc is phenomenal. We get to learn more about the hierarchy of the afterlife, we get to see other characters from different quadrants duke it out in a tournament, And we get to see the Super Kaioken, a combination between Super Saiyan and the Kaioken technique, which is just an amazing concept that we never could have seen in canon material. Of course, Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken does exist in canon material, but that's because it functions differently from Super Kaioken, as the two Saiyan forms differ in nature. One is calm, the other is full of rage, and doesn't flow well with the already straining principles of the Kaioken. But because of the Otherworld tournament being filler, and since it takes place in the afterlife, the Super Kaioken was possible for a split second, and that's because Goku was dead. As we all know, the Otherworld functions on a different plane of existence from the living world. There's not really a concept of time, and there's not really any drawbacks that would affect someone if they were living. It's why Goku achieved Super Saiyan 3 and was able to use it relatively well while dead, but when he came back to the land of the living, the simple act of transforming drained all of his time left on Earth, and when he came back to life, he couldn't hold the form for more than a few minutes. Super Kaioken is the same way, and that's why it's only been used once in a filler arc. His dead body could withstand the drain and emotional trauma of combining the two, whereas if he was alive, using the technique would essentially implode his physical body, and that's one of the many magical things about Dragon Ball's Otherworld. We get to see these things that wouldn't be possible if these characters were alive. They're allowed to go all out and utilize their full potential because they don't have a physical body. But let's shift gears for a second and talk about the bad people that get sent to the Otherworld who do get to keep their bodies. How come we've seen several villains keep their bodies even though that's a privilege given to only the greatest of heroes? It could be said that while it's a privilege to those sent to heaven so that they can keep training and getting stronger even in death, it can also be a curse to those who have caused nothing but harm to others. We see this primarily with Frieza, who keeps his body in the afterlife, yet it's suspended in a cocoon. Unable to move around and do as he pleases, Frieza is stuck in what I like to call his own personal hell, surrounded by nothing but happiness and serenity. There's dancing teddy bears and fairies that do nothing but pester him, and as much as he wants to break free and destroy everything around him, he can't. The only time that he gets loose is when Goku physically comes down to him and breaks him out so he can help in the Tournament of Power. When it comes to the bad guys who get to keep their bodies, the afterlife is always doing something different to make sure that they're paying for their sins. Like when Raditz came through the check-in station, he tried to fight King Yemma, so now he's being punished for that. And Dabura even passed through the check-in station, but King Yemma sent him directly to heaven because he knew that he would have way too much fun down in hell. But what I feel resonates most with Dragon Ball fans when it comes to the afterlife, it's not about the privileges that good people get, and it's not about the unique punishments that bad people get. It's the fact that everybody has the opportunity to get a second chance. Reincarnation is an extremely common occurrence where souls, both good and bad, have been reborn into beings that ultimately give them a second chance at life. We've seen characters like Boo go from a heartless, rampaging monster to a kind and pure-hearted child destined to take over the mantle of Earth's protector in the form of Oob. The Dragon Balls are items that the entire series is named after. They're magic-granting orbs that have the power to bring someone back to life, and that concept of bringing someone back has been the catalyst behind several of the franchise's best story arcs and redemptions. However, the Dragon Balls aren't the only thing that can bring someone back to the land of the living. There have been several different instances where Goku and his friends have been transported back to Earth by other characters like Fortune Teller Baba just to reunite with their loved ones, and every time it happens, it's always a real tearjerker. Grandpa Gohan was brought back one last time to fight against Goku so he could see how much he had grown and learned, and Goku was brought back for one day at the start of the Buu Saga, and that way he was able to see his friends and meet his son Goten for the very first time. These moments highlight that in the world of Dragon Ball, just because somebody is gone, that doesn't truly mean that they're gone forever. They can be brought back into the land of the living to help maintain balance, to bring about a sense of closure to their loved ones, and to reassure everybody that there is a happy place for everyone after they die, so then that way they can be reunited for all eternity. Everything about the Otherworld was thought up by Akira Toriyama, drawn on sheets of paper, and shared with the world. Fans were able to continue reading about their favorite characters even after their deaths, and in a sense, Toriyama shared his imagination with the rest of us, letting us all believe that the afterlife was this joyous, pleasant, and magical place for opportunity, growth, and serenity. And that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you all so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed. If you want to watch more Dragon Ball content like this, please subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and share it with your friends. I'm InnovativeJdawg, and I am just one of the billions of people who have had their lives changed by Dragon Ball. In the comments, please share your thoughts on today's topic, share your favorite memories of Dragon Ball, and let's show our respect to Akira Toriyama.